Hello, my name is Gary Sahusky. I'm the head instructor at Tee to Green Golf Center in Danville, Pennsylvania. I've been a PGA member for almost 30 years, and I'm here today to talk to you about some greenside bunker shots. Have you ever watched the Tour Pros? I'm sure that you have, and seen them hit shots out of the bunker and say, boy, they make that look so easy. And actually, this shot for them is very easy. It also, it almost makes it look like they could hit this shot with one hand tied behind their back. And truthfully, if your technique is good, you can hit the ball out of the bunker that way. Now, let me say this. I believe that this shot should be one of the easiest shots in golf simply because you're not trying to hit the golf ball. It's the only shot in golf you're not trying to actually hit the golf ball. You're trying to hit the sand. So in that respect, you have more margin for error than you have in any other shot in golf. But we do want to try to contact the sand in a similar position each time. So let's try to talk a little bit about how we're going to set up for these shots and what we're going to do in order to hit these correctly. The first thing we need to do is to get prepared to hit the shot properly. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dig my feet into the sand just a little to make sure that I'm on a level below the level of the golf ball so that I can slide the sand wedge under the ball through the sand as I swing through. The next thing I'm going to do is to make sure that I take the club face and open it slightly, then put my grip on so the club head is slightly open at address, and as I get into the sand it's going to allow me to use the bottom edge or the bounce on the sand wedge more effectively so the club will slide through the sand and not dig into the sand. Alright, now in order to hit the sand in the same place each time, and this is our first of 3 keys to hitting bunker shots well, I'm going to draw a line here behind the ball in the sand to check to see exactly where I'm entering the sand each time to make sure I'm entering it in a similar place each time. And the easiest way to accomplish that is to make sure that we put a little bit more weight on our front foot, which will be the foot closer to the target, and as we swing, keep the weight in that position and head very steady right in the same position as we swing back and through. We cannot have any side-to-side motion as we go through this shot, so there's no weight shift to speak of. Alright, so I'm trying to keep a little more weight here, not only at address, but also through the swing, and keep my head very, very steady when I swing the club back and forth. And you can see I hit right on my line, taking a small splash of sand out afterwards, which is exactly what I'm trying to do. So that's our first key to hitting these shots correctly. The second key is to make sure that we take a consistent depth of sand as we swing through the shot. If we dig too deeply, there's a chance the ball may not get out of the bunker. We'll take too much sand. If we don't take enough sand, we could scull the ball, hit the golf ball, and not the sand and hit it over the green. Now, the easiest way to do that is when we set up here and get ready to swing, is we're going to take the lead arm here and bend it slightly at the elbow just before we swing away as we hover the club above the sand. Of course, as we all know, we can't set the club on the sand because the bunker's a hazard. If we set the club down there, it's going to be a penalty, so we can't do that. So we're going to take the club, take our setup and bend the left arm slightly. As we take the club away on the backswing, we're going to straighten that arm, which actually lengthens the arm about 1 inch and gets the club to come through the sand at about 1 inch below the level of the golf ball. So there's no need for any lowering to get yourself down farther than you actually are at address. And let's see if I can do that here on this swing. Again, bending the left arm, lead arm here in this case. Okay, and as I swing back, straighten it. Swing back through again. The ball comes out very well. Get right on my spot again. Taking a shallow slice of sand afterwards, not too deep, and getting the ball right out of the bunker. Alright, so that's our second key. Third key is going to be making sure, and I'll show it to you from a down the line view here, making sure that when we take the club away on the backswing, that the club head goes straight back and upward, so that when I swing through, my swing shape looks more like a U at the bottom of the swing, to make sure that I'm getting through the sand without being the sand too long, and also taking a relatively shallow slice of sand when I go through there. So let's see if we can show you that from this angle. And that makes it very easy to get the ball out without taking too much sand at all. Once again, taking a shallow slice of sand and just hitting slightly behind the ball, right on my line. Now I'd like to go over one thing that I see most players do incorrectly here. It seems to be a very prevalent problem with everyone who I teach. And what they do is when they get up to set up to hit a shot, when they hit it incorrectly, is they'll get to the sand and just stop as they hit the sand. And if you saw there, the sand did not get out of the bunker. If the sand doesn't get out of the bunker, there's a pretty good chance the ball's not going to get out either. So we need to make sure that we hit the sand with enough force to get it out of the bunker, because the force of the sand and the sand itself will carry the ball out of the bunker. So if we don't get the sand out of the bunker, we're not going to get the ball out either. So the best way to accomplish that is, when I'm making my swing, I try to get people to take what I call almost a full swing, but not a full speed swing. We don't need a full speed swing to get the ball out of the bunker here, but we do need enough acceleration to hit the sand with enough force to get it out of the bunker. And if we do make a full follow-through like that, we will get enough acceleration to get the ball out of the bunker and onto the green. So that's one thing I want to try to remind everyone to do, is to make sure that we don't stop when we hit the sand, because if we do, that ball is not going to get out of the bunker. I'll almost guarantee you that. The last thing I'd like to say about hitting bunker shots, one last tip that I think will be helpful for everyone, is when you swing through the sand, after you've impacted the sand and swing through, try to keep the back of your left hand, or lead arm here, lead hand, excuse me, back of your lead hand facing the sky longer as you finish your shot. When you do that, it allows you to use the bottom of the club again a little bit more effectively, the bounce on the sand here, and sliding through the sand, so we take a nice shallow slice of sand as we go through. So it's important to try your best to keep that lead hand facing the sky longer as we follow through on this shot. So let's recap here. 3 keys to hitting good bunker shots. The first is to try to hit the sand in the same place each time. The second is to bend the lead arm at the elbow and straighten it on the backswing so that we can lengthen it about 1 inch and come in a little bit lower to the golf ball without having to lower ourselves to come through. And the third key is to make sure that we take the club head straight back and up on the backswing to make our swing more U-shaped at the bottom. If you follow these 3 tips and these 3 keys to hitting good bunker shots, I'm pretty sure you're going to say, when you see the tour players play shots out there, you're going to say, hey, I can play shots just like that. Good luck.
Hole of the Tournament Players Club of Scottsdale, 195-yard par 3 that's about 3/4 surrounded by water. And I'm standing in the back left bunker where some of the pros could end up during the tournament. They might end up hitting some shots in here that go astray. And what we're looking at here is a difficult shot to a very narrow pin placement here with very little room to land the ball and stop it. The shot could easily go over the green and into water on the other side. Let me see if I can get this one close. As you can see, it's not an easy shot. But what happens when the ball comes into the bunker and plugs like that? That makes a tough shot even tougher, and there's almost no way to get this ball close or even keep it on the green. I'm going to try to enter the sand just a little bit behind the ball and not swing too hard so I get it out of the bunker but not knock it over the green. And we'll be back tomorrow with another tip from the TPC. 15th hole of the Tournament Players Club. It's a short par 5, and some of the pros might get to this area with their tee shots, some of the longer hitters, and if they get a little extra courageous, might want to go for the green in 2 shots. But there's only one problem. Their second shot has to carry over water about 200 yards to an island green, and what TPC would be complete without an island green on the course. Okay, I'm going to see how my 3-iron is going to do on this shot today. Started out to the right just a little bit. Looks like it might not make it. It's going to end up in the water, I think. And it did. That's what can happen when you gamble. We'll be back tomorrow with another tip from the TPC.